Okay, so for this next video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 4 different cases of what kinds of slope you can get. Okay, so we already kind of talked about this, and we talked about, and I'm going to jump around a little bit here. We talked about how in this one, and I'm going to highlight this so you can see it, I've got one where I had a case of a positive slope. Okay, so what that means is that from left to right, it's going up. All right, so if you've got a graph, you've got something that from left to right, it's going in that direction. It's going up. So the same direction you read is the same direction you look at your line to determine what the slope is. If I look at this one right here, that would make a graph, and I'll sneak that in over here, that would look something more like this, right? So that means from left to right, it is going down. Okay, and that's the difference between a positive and negative slope. And then we talked about our 0 right here. And so that leaves one other example, and that's something with undefined slope. So we're gonna look at this numerically, and then we're gonna look at it pictorially. All right, so if I use my slope formula between these 2 points, which is giving me, let's start with 4. So that's my y. I'm gonna go 4 minus, and then I have a negative 3 here. All right, so I got double negative going on. And I have negative 2 minus a negative 2. So it's this one minus this one. All right, well, what happens on the bottom of this fraction is we get this unsettling thing where we get negative 2 plus 2. All right, on top we're going to get 7. All right, we get 4 plus 3 is 7. But on the bottom, negative 2 plus 2 is 0. And what you should know is that you can't divide by 0, or, well, you can try it, but the thing is it's undefined. It does not have a number, all right? And so because of that, they say the slope, when your x coordinates don't change from one to the next, your slope is called undefined. And what that looks like in this case is you're going to have a line that's going to go through the x-coordinate of negative 2 and just be a straight up and down line. It's going to look kind of like this a little bit, all right? So it would go through your x-coordinate, so it would go through the point negative 2, 0, right? And then you could see that negative 2, 4 would be up here somewhere, then negative 2, negative 3 would be down here somewhere. Right? So that's what happens. And so when you have a situation like that, they call that an undefined slope because you can't find a number that applies to that. And so for these examples that they give, they're just both examples of undefined slopes and what it kind of might look like. So you always start with your y's. So let's start with 3. So we'll do 3 minus 7. I'm just doing this minus that. And then I'm going to do my x's. So I'm going to do 6 minus 6. Well, anything minus itself is 0. 3 minus 7 is negative 4. So again, you get undefined, right? It's undefined. You cannot find it because you cannot divide by 0. And there's a whole proof available on why that's undefined and all of that, and I could try to explain it, but it's a really crazy concept, so I think for now it's just best to know that you can't do it. All right, and for 5b, it's going to be the same deal, right? We'll start with our y, so we'll go 2 minus a minus 1. I'm just doing this one minus this one. And then negative 3 minus a negative 3. Remember, if you subtract anything from itself, it gives you 0. And then 2 plus 1, because you got double negative, gives you 3. So again, this is undefined. So our 4 slope examples, right? You have a positive slope, all right, and your number is positive. You have a negative slope here where it goes down from left to right, where your number is negative. Slope of 0 is a flat line, so if you can just remember that, it's flat, right? That would be your slope of 0, and then your undefined slope is a vertical line. So you've got a flat horizontal line, and then you've got a vertical line for your undefined, okay? And then in terms of what we talked about with functions, this one does not qualify as a function, okay, because it doesn't pass that straight line test where it only goes through one through one point. So that is the main concept of what I wanted to grab in this video, is just different kinds of slope and looking at some examples of those.